Today we'll be installing a Sync 3 upgrade kit on our 2013 Ford Escape with Sync 2. In this video, we'll be showing what parts come with a typical upgrade kit and comparing different types of sellers. And then we'll finally have a walkthrough of how to actually install the parts on your Ford Escape by showing the steps and tools required to do so. Let's get started. Here's the kit we're going to be featuring today. The parts here are going to be the same parts included on most Sync 2 to Sync 3 upgrade kits regardless of the vendor. Two unique parts we'll have in this kit are the aftermarket backup camera wire harness insert, as well as the USB to OBD2 plug that comes with the Amazon kit for product support after install if needed. To compare kits and sellers, know that domestic sellers or US-based sellers would typically cost more as they tend to use genuine Ford parts and have higher quality customer support experience. No matter the seller though, most if not all of the Sync 2 to Sync 3 kits ask you for your VIN number at point of purchase. This is so the seller can configure your Sync 3 system to match the unlocked features for your vehicle for a seamless swap out process. However, if you're like me and you added an aftermarket backup camera, you would need to message them separately to let them know to toggle that feature on as well, since your VIN will not show that option as it wasn't a factory feature to begin with. Each seller will also ask you if you want to include factory navigation or Ford navigation regardless of whether your vehicle had it to begin with. This usually adds cost to the bottom line, and it's debatable whether it's truly necessary or not, since Sync 3 allows for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, which allows you to just use your preferred Maps app from your phone anyways. I personally like the Ford Nav, so I'm going to be referencing it here moving forward for price comparisons. In terms of actual US-based companies and costs, here are the ones that stand out most to me. 4D Tech. It's a robust seller, shows up quickly in search results, and will provide excellent person-to-person customer support. However, comparatively, they cost a fortune for a Sync 3 upgrade kit, especially if you want factory navigation. $1,400 just seems like a lot when you have a 10-year-old Escape that may only be worth $4,500 on a good day. Navi Upgrade is another great US seller who uses genuine Ford parts as well as other interesting program hacks and perks in their product offerings. Their Sync 3 upgrade kit with Nav comes to around $1,000, which is better than 4D Tech, but still a lot to me. All Things Sync is a company based out of Chicago, Illinois that uses real Ford parts but manages to keep their costs lower due to using refurbished Ford parts where possible and new parts where required. This kit comes much closer to the Amazon pricing of the kit that we're using in this video while still maintaining the higher customer support. If you must go domestic and are on a budget, I'd recommend going through them for the best balance of benefits and cost. Now the Amazon kit we're linking and showing in this video here is a Chinese kit. It is not a guarantee that these parts are genuine Ford parts, but the installation experience is generally the same and the cost is much lower than 4D Tech and Navi Upgrade if you're not looking to spend much for an upgrade kit for your older Escape. They have mostly good reviews in terms of customer support, which consists of them sending you the OBD2 USB adapter, having you install FORSCAN and TeamViewer, and allowing them to correct any issues virtually via remote desktop. And for full transparency, we got this kit secondhand from our friends Brent and his son Benjamin, who were local and selling it after unfortunately totaling their Escape. Our Escapes had the same options, so there was no need to reconfigure anything from a programming perspective. Shout out to you guys for the opportunity to get this kit and to be able to feature it here. Thank you. So now let's get into the actual installation process. All right, so here's going to be your Sync 3 upgrade kit and a list of parts. Here you have your APIM. This is your accessory protocol interface module. This is kind of the brain behind everything. This is where your main wire harness goes in. You have two USB ports, your video connection right here, and your GPS antenna connection right there. This is your 8-inch capacitive touchscreen. This is your USB hub that's going to enable you to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. This is the adapter plate that will pop it into the center console there. Here is your video cable connector that connects the screen to the APIM module. This is your GPS antenna. Tools for this are pretty minimal. We have a 13mm socket, we have a 7mm socket, we have a T9 Torx bit, and then we have a Phillips head. These are just a few adapters that I use to connect all of these things to my screwdriver. All right, so before we go out to the car, we're going to assemble the screen and the APIM module as well as the connecting cable with the screws. So with something soft on the table, I'm going to flip this guy upside down. We're going to take the APIM module, we're going to put it right here. We're going to line up 1, 2, and 3 holes there. Phillips head screws, we're going to put them in there. Now we're going to take this connector here, yellow goes to yellow, blue goes to blue. Just push it in until you hear the clicks. So this is what the main APIM piggybacked onto the screen will look like. Ready to go out to the car. First we're going to go in the driver's footwell and we're going to pop the trunk. We're going to go along the hood here until we see our yellow lever. We're going to reach in, kick it sideways, We're going to start by disconnecting our battery, which is that little post right there. I'm going to grab the cable itself, lift it away. Make sure to put your battery stud in a safe place while you work so you don't lose it. So once we have our battery disconnected, we're going to pop off this top cover. There are snaps all along the sides and in the back. So what we're going to do is you're going to give a firm palm to this overhang here, this visor, but we're not going to lift it all the way up because there's going to be a wire connector under here. So 1, 2, 3. So directly under there is the wire that we're going to disconnect. There's a little tab that you're going to squeeze to the right. You squeeze that tab and it comes right out. That should be all you need to take that off. Move it off to the side. All right, so we're going to start by taking this 7mm fastener out. Put that somewhere safe. And then we're going to go and take this 7mm fastener out. Now we'll be able to take off this whole front cover, but just like the top where there's a wire connector, there's going to be one behind the control panel here. So we're going to take your hands, put it on the top, and just slowly apply pressure until it pops free. And again, don't lift it up because we're going to have to disconnect under here. All right, so we're going to be disconnecting this wire connector. There's that tab right there. I'm going to reach in, squeeze that tab, and pull out that plug. And then we can lift away the whole bezel. All right, so next we need to remove 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the 7mm screws. And to get to those screws, it's going to be easiest if we take out the vent assemblies on the sides. And there are spring tabs that are holding them in. There's 1, 2, and 3. Now if we get our long screwdriver, we can push down the spring tab here, stick it in, and then press it down, rock it forward, and we can pop it out that way. And do the same thing over here. Two. Now we have much better access to our 7mm screws. All right, now that those screws are gone, there's still pins holding this in, but it can now slide forward. And there's the main wire harness on the back here now too. So you can take this and lean it down. Now this is your main wire harness that goes into the back. This connects your infotainment to the rest of the system of the car. And there's a gray connector here. You push down in the middle, you flip this tab up. As you rock it out, it cams itself out of position. And then here is your USB. You're going to squeeze that tab, pull it out. There is our old Sync 2 module. All right, so if this is our Sync 2 module and this is the 3 that we want to put on, besides the modules themselves being different, we need to get these mounting tabs off the side of the Sync 2 and put it on the Sync 3. So we're going to be using this T9 Torx bit right here, and we're going to be removing 1, 2 screws on either side to remove these mounting brackets. And so when you take off the bracket, you'll notice that there are 2 alignment posts here that are also holding the sheet metal around the LCD. They line up with these 2 holes here. Bracket like that. All right, we got our Sync 3. All right, so we put our bracket on our Sync 3 module. We want to make sure that the 2 bumps or posts in the corners line up, and you also want to be able to see your 2 Phillips head screws. I'm going to put our T9 Torx screw back in there. Now those are in. Let's flip it back over. Now we have our Sync 3 screen with our Sync 3 APIM on the back and our mounting brackets with these pins that are ready to go back into the infotainment chassis. Before we do that though, we're going to connect our GPS. So this is our GPS unit here. I'm going to take the blue plug and line up the connectors and push it on. And this can swivel, so no big deal there. And the back of this is sticky. And so I'm going to take this, I'm just going to position it way back here. And they have the excess wire bundled here. And then it runs up the left side of our CD player. And we actually are positioning it right next to the speaker towards the windshield. So it's as far forward, unobstructed as possible, and not preventing that top cover from snapping back on. So this is a wire harness that's typically not included on the Amazon kits, but you can find it online. I'll include the link down below. This has a little tail sticking out to plug in your aftermarket backup camera, and that is what I have here. So first I'm going to plug in the camera to my other RCA plug. And then I'm going to line up my connections for the harness going into the car. Look for the big T-shapes on the top. And we're going to cam that in. Make sure that's closed. Then we're going to take this one, plug it into the back of the APIM for sync 3. And now we're ready to install everything. I'm going to take this cluster of wires and cables, I'm going to tuck it into the pocket directly underneath the CD player. And we're going to align these pins here to these holes right here on the back. So now I'm going to get my screwdriver and put on my 7mm bit one more time. We're going to put these 4 screws back in. All right, now we're ready for our vent assemblies to go back in. So you're going to want to make sure that the back ends of these ducts plug in around here. So we're going to be leaning those guys down, and as you plug it in, you want your spring tabs to seat. And then we're going to put our main control panel back on. First thing with the main control panel is to plug in the buttons again. So that's in. We're going to pop it down into place. Now we're going to put our 7mm screws back on either corner here. Okay, now we're going to take our top cover and position it. We get our plug right here. Plug that back in on the top. Line up our snaps. Cool. All right, so our next step is going to be taking out this USB hub right here. This has your card for your maps, and it also has your 2 USB inputs and your RCA connectors. It's really not that much work to pop it out. I'm going to show you. All right, so you can take your plastic trim tool. I'm just going to use a flathead screwdriver. I'm going to reach in here and just apply some pressure and get my fingernail into the bottom here. All right, so now you can see here that there are 2 different connections to be made. We're going to disconnect the USB here, and then we're going to disconnect this guy right here. And that is your old Sync 2 hub. We're now going to take our Sync 3 hub. We're going to line up these 2 connectors, plug them together. We're going to take our USB right here and plug that in here. All right, now that that's plugged in, we're going to tuck the wires into this cavity right here and stick that in. And that is all that it takes. All right, we're reconnecting our negative terminal on our battery now. All right, there's Sync 3 loading up. All right, the time is right, it's 4:52. The GPS works. I'm going to check the climate control, make sure everything works right. All right, so one of the nicer things about Sync 3, of course, is the upgrade of the actual display. It's responsive and a lot faster to scrolling with your hands instead of the pressure-sensitive contact of Sync 2. So when you plug in here, you can get Android Auto, so it pulls up Google Maps and the limited apps that they give you while you're driving. But you can configure all that in your Android Auto app on your phone. So even though I did this install today, I have been using Android Auto and Sync 3 for the last 3 months. I had used Sync 2 since 2014. It makes a big difference. And when it's integrated into the dash, it really does a good job of making our 2013 to 2016 escapes more modern, feel more up to date, and it's a small thing that you can do to really elevate your vehicle. Car Puride W903 that we reviewed a little while ago, it's very nice. It has a lot of bells and whistles, but it's not integrated to the steering controls. It's not integrated to the climate control. Having the Sync 3 in your dash and having the actual factory setup is really, really nice. So if you want to get the same exact kit, we have the Amazon link below. It's an affiliate link, but it's the same seller that this kit came from. So we would earn a small commission for the channel, but it's of no extra cost to you. Drop a line in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching How to Escape. We'll see you next time.